What's up? Q&A time. Alright, so I asked my Instagram community maybe a week ago for some questions, and then I had to do it again maybe yesterday for me because I needed more questions, but here we go. Here are some questions from the Instagram community. Did one on YouTube, but didn't get any responses, so hope you guys enjoyed the video. What is your favorite example of border gore? I'm not exactly sure what border gore is, to be completely honest, but yeah, I'm not exactly sure 100% what this is. I'd have to think about this one a little bit more, but if you could provide more information about what this is, I'd love to hear it. Sounds kind of interesting. Yeah. What got you started map making? In 2020 I started making, 2019 actually, I started making a board game and I needed a map for it. So I drew out a map. That's kind of where that came from. But before that, I just really liked maps. Lord of the Rings, the world map. I loved just studying maps and I thought it was so cool. So then in 2022, I was like, hey, I wonder if I could start a business based off of my skill. And over the next year, I started it in early 2020, my business. Well, I eventually figured out that I was not a good mapper. And so then I began honing in my skills, trying to figure out what made a map good. And so I think now I'm down to a pretty good understanding of how maps work and what makes them look really, really good. If we cut our hand, does it hurt, and how? Our hand isn't a part of our body anymore. I'm assuming the hand is no longer part of our body, which means it's chopped off, which would mean our hand doesn't hurt, except we do have we would have phantom pain, or whatever it's called, where you can feel things but you don't have a limb there anymore, which is actually kind of interesting, and I wonder what that's like. But you can't, you could feel like at the stump pain, I guess. I don't know. Who are some of your favorite authors? Perfect question. Tolkien, Pierce Brown, and the author of Dune. I'm blanking on his name. Those are all really good authors. Oh, John Muir is an excellent author, definitely. Love all of his books. Well, actually, interesting. I don't like all of his books. Some of his books are a little bit boring, but if you want a John Muir book, I would definitely suggest My First Summer in the Sierra. It's a good one. Definitely 100% recommend it to anybody. I want to draw a map of the forest and swamp behind my house. How do I scale out the proportions? A really good question, actually. So what I would do, if it was just me, I would get into Google Maps, zoom into the place that you want, take a screenshot, and print that out. If you can't do that, then what I would do is I would take a screenshot again of the Google Maps, make a grid over top of that, and then make a grid over top of your paper. And then you can line up things around your map to make sure that the proportions are kind of decent or fairly accurate. The great thing about mapping, or at least fantasy mapping, depends on how accurate you want to be, but you can get away with some pretty inaccurate and blown out of proportion things, and it'll still look amazing and people will love it. It just depends on the artist and how accurate you do want it. So I would play around with a few things. Maybe take a screenshot and print it out and trace it, or do the grid, or just wing it and see how it turns out. All right, halfway through, and we got a good one. Wait, what? My question exactly. How many pens do you go through a year? Not that many, actually. Well, yeah, not that many. I'd say maybe, so for my 01 pens, which I go through quite a bit, quite fast, I'd say I go through one every 2 to 3 months, maybe 4 for pushing it. But then I can use it as my dotting tool once it gets blunt enough that you can't draw with it anymore. These are both 01s here. Nope, that one's not an 01. This one is. These are both 01s. And you can kind of see how much of the ink thing is left. Yeah, so if I go through 2 to 3, or go through one pen every 2 to 3 months, that's about 6 to 4 pens per year. And yeah, and then recently, actually, the beginning of this year, I bought a big pack of pens that had an 03, 01, 05, all the way up to a 12, I believe, and all the way down to a 001 or a 002, maybe a 005. I don't exactly remember, but it came with a whole bunch of pens, so I'm stocked up on pens for that, and I don't see myself buying another big pack like that for maybe a good while. So yeah, maybe good ballpark answer would be 4 to 7 pens a year. Is a hot dog a sandwich? That's a good question. Depends on what your definition of a sandwich is. For me, a sandwich would be, it would have to include sandwich meat. Well, no, because you can have a grilled cheese, which is technically a sandwich. But what I really consider a sandwich, it's on the lower spectrum of a sandwich. I'd say sandwiches are definitely on a spectrum. You have the better the sandwich is in definition wise, it's gonna have sandwich meat. But you could consider a burger or a hot dog or a grilled cheese a sandwich. They'll just be on this side of the spectrum probably. That's my answer. Please feel free to debate in the comments. I'll definitely answer every comment about that. Make sure it's a healthy discussion. Let me know what you think. Why? Because. Yep, Q. Q. Mm-hmm. What is your favorite element to map element to draw? So I was thinking about this question. I saw this one and I was thinking about it. I'm not really sure how to answer this one. I had 2 answers. You could be asking element as in, earth, water, fire, wind, all that. Or you could be asking element as in features. If we're going with element as in the elements, we'll say fire, because that's fun. Fire's fun. Earth, though. Actually, no, we'll go with earth for that. But for this, for the serious question, what feature? Definitely mountains. Actually, well, okay, so this is a hard one. This is a really, really hard one. It's either between mountains or it's between mountains and cities. Well, see, they all have their special reasons why they're amazing. Because mountains, they're just so fun to draw. You can be free with them and you can just do so much. And there's so much variation you can do with them, and I really enjoy that. Then we have forests. Forests are really calming because they take a ton of time to do. You have to draw in every single circle. So while forests are fun and calming, then we have cities, because you can do anything with a city. I mean, you have a little circle about that size, right? And you can just go to town on that. You can draw an invisible city. You could draw a city densely packed with 1 billion people, and you can just have a whole bunch of different creative ideas for that. So I think those are my top 3. I think mountains and cities are probably higher than forests, but if I had to choose between the 2, or between the 3 or whatever, I'd say mountains or cities. Yeah, looks like that's all of our questions for today. We had 12 questions. If you have any more questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments. I'd love to answer any more. Questions don't have to end at this video, so keep them coming, and I'll be happy to answer. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Peace.